Hey guys, Dion. I came top 8 in the Brisbane State Championship, playing PK of all things. Played the deck because I believe it has a good 10-point matchup because of the way that certain cards in the deck operate and just how the deck plays, and I like playing all gas, no brakes. So let's get started. So to start off, we're playing 3 of Phantom Knight's Taunt Scale. Now you play 3. I was actually thinking about cutting out 1, just because you want to have as much consistency in the deck as possible, but played 3 because of the lack of extenders in the deck beyond, for level 3s beyond Terratop. And you want to be able to see names as much as possible, just to get your play started. Sometimes it's a little bit egregious, but if you are super concerned with it, you can side out the 3rd. It's one of my side outs personally when I'm going 2nd or 3rd and I'm in a position where I want more of my side deck. So that's Taunt Scales. Secondly, we're playing 2 Ancient Cloak. I know some people, when they're playing this particular build for Horus, they play 3, but I believe that 2 is fine. Again, you just want as much consistency as possible. The card's good. A lot of PK players often forget its effect to give monsters 800 attack. I do it like almost every game to give my Bardiche 800 attack so that it's 29. Catches a lot of people off guard, especially if you combine it with Phantom Knight's Wing. So yeah, two's perfect. Of course, 3 Phantom Knight's Boots. It's your extender. It's your add a spell trap. Gives you fodder for Horus. Gives you fodder for Fateful Adventure, gives you fodder for Taunt Scales effect on field. This card's nuts. It does a lot. Gets plays started. If you open up another PK, you can threaten Zeus. You can make Cherubini. This card just does everything. This card's awesome. Never cutting it beyond 3. And your 1-ofs, Stain Greaves and Gloves. Gloves is your is every other PK engrave PK. Stain Greaves is your extra extender. There are hands where you want that extra extender to make Bardiche just because you've already used your boots that turn. Also, people forget its grave effect. You can banish it to special summon another PK from hand. A lot of intricate stuff like that, but yeah, I wouldn't cut this. I know a lot of people don't like having it in, but I think it's necessary, and this is just generically good. It's every other PK, every trap. It's the way that you get a trap to grave when you are sending it from Bardiche's effect, so that's good. Moving on, we have say goodbye to the ban list because 3 Terratop. This card is awesome, and of course his buddy Takatombog. Yeah, Terratop at 3 is nuts. It turns kind of your deck from a 3-axis deck into a 4-axis deck. That small 4th axis being the fact that you can just play a Zeus into an established board. It's nuts. Just not having to normal summon at all. Gets, again, just like the PKs, it gets you into threatening Zeus, gets you into Cherubini, does everything, gets you resources. And even opening this card seems terrible, but a lot of people forget that Levy Air is a wind as well as Griffin Rider. So you can just special summon it for free when you've established your adventure card. So this card is also awesome. So love these cards. And of course, we're playing 3 Water Enchantress and a Griffin Rider. I was thinking about playing a Legal Knight because I expected to see more branded, but I ended up just saying nah and just sticking to the basics, and it ended up working out really well. You'd never not play this at 3. I don't know why anyone would play 2 or 1, but yeah, this card, send off Cherubini. If you open this card with Imseti, you just win the game. If you open this card with Droplet, you just win the game. This card is insane. It's also an extender if you have a little bit too much. So yeah, the card engine is awesome. You have your 3 Imseti, 1 Dwarmatef, 1 Happy. I know a lot of people don't play this so that they can make their deck a little bit more consistent. In a weird way, actually playing it makes your deck more consistent because you can use Happy and Dwarmatef to make Zombie Vampire, and if you get interrupted or to like in the middle of that, you can still bring out this as another material for your Bardiche because it's a dark, and Zombie Vampire is a dark, and sometimes you just get nibbed. So you'll have the nib token plus Zombie Vampire, whatever else you summon off Zombie Vampire, and then this. So you have enough materials to recover into your Bardiche plays later on. Engine's insane, wins me a lot of games. I resolved this once, drew like 5, it was crazy. Is recursion for your deck and is just generically good as a send. Sometimes you leave it on field if you open up a little too well to summon your SP with your IP Masquerader. So awesome engine, insane engine. And of course, to enable that engine, your King Sarcophagus. Opening this is a little worse than Imseti. Obviously, Imseti draws you an extra card, but a lot of people forget. I had a Fire King matchup where they summoned the Xyz to destroy my entire board, and well, this card says you have to target my Horus cards to destroy them. So my Horus cards stayed on board. The rest of my field left. I was able to trigger my Horus effects for massive value. So this card is insane. People playing it at 2, if you're a little concerned, maybe play it at 2. I think 3 is awesome. I want to be able to see as many of my consistency cards as possible. I want to see as many of my plays as possible. The theme of this deck is all gas, no brakes. So this card is awesome. Also, a lot of people get tripped up by the fact that on attack, when Horus is involved in a battle, you can just send a monster to the grave that it battled. So I had a lot of people who have 3k bodies and my Happy at 2/4 is attacking them, and they're very confused. But this card good, very very good card. Next we play 2 right. You only need to play 2 because your Water Enchantress is played at 3. If you see another one, it just might be another extra card that you really don't need. Fateful Adventure, I saw this in my opening hand maybe a little bit too much, but it's still a good card to open provided that the rest of your cards are good to go in the grave, like your PKs, your Water Enchantresses, your Horus Engine. That's good. And of course, semi MVP of the day, Dracoback. Says no to Mirror Jade, not that I had that matchup, but just removes a lot of cards that would otherwise be immovable. Like you have a lot of cards that are protected by destruction, you have a lot of cards that you really don't want to battle into to remove it. So this card nuts won me a lot of games. We have the one-ofs, Rhoda, Foolish. This card is anything in the deck that you want. Usually send Water Enchantress or a PK name, provided that you have extenders in hand. But Water Enchantress is awesome. It's a little bit unfortunate if you have King Sarcophagus as well as this card, because this card is just a King Sarcophagus activation, essentially. And this is any PK name. Very good card. I only saw it maybe twice, but it won me the game because I opened triple imperm, which I'll get into later. And of course, 3 Phantom Knight's Fogblade. This card says no to a lot of decks. It says no to Tenpai because reading the fine print, Sanguine Summoning says they cannot be your fire dragon monsters can't be affected by activated effects. But on activation, Fogblade targets a card and then begins applying its effect continuously. So it gets around that, means that they can't activate its effects, also means that they can't attack. So this card's nuts. Is also a revive in the grave, so often you'll find yourself pitching it for Imseti or Fateful Adventure or Torn Scales. Card's insane. And its little brother, Wing. This card came up a lot. A lot of people aren't playing the extra trap, but I think it's necessary just for the setup combo. And in some matchups, it's better than Fogblades, funnily enough. It's better, in my opinion, in the Labyrinth matchup, just because it protects certain cards that you really would rather not be destroyed. Very funny, you can also make your Bardiche with the Ancient Cloak boost a 3400 attack monster, and a lot of people will forget that, so they'll battle in with their 3k boss monster and then just kill themselves. It's very, very, very funny. But yeah, this card's good. It also protects the first time a card would be destroyed by battle, a card affecting turn it's activated. So it does a lot of legwork that Fogblade does not do. So I would play it. I wouldn't play a sword because it needs to stay on board, and there are just some times where you need this. You activate this in the draw phase so that you have fodder for your Xyz to come back during your opponent's turn. So very good cards. Would not take out any of these. 3 droplet. Put it here. 3 droplet and 3 infinite impermanence. I was actually thinking of playing Ash over infinite impermanence, but I like the way that imperm interacts with droplet. I also wanted to make my list a bit more generalist, rather than focusing too hard on playing with Ash. Yeah, and I have there was my Thunder Dragon game where my opening hand was PK Trap, non-card, 3 imperm, and his board was IP Masquerena and Colossus. So I just won because I opened a starter after I drew. The following game, he made Avramax plus Colossus, and I opened these 2 cards. So these cards are insane. This maybe tied with Live Twin, I would say Droplet is best utilized in this deck, more so than any other deck. You do have to side it out when you see maybe Flu, or in some cases Tenpai, in some cases Kashtira, because they do have that D-shifter, or cards that are D-shifter-like, that banish everything, which means you can't activate its effect. So it's a good side-out card in that kind of situation. But yeah, these cards are awesome. Into the extra deck. So far we've got Cherubini. It's for some reason, some people are still imperming this card. It sends for cost to apply its effect to gain attack. It's a ridiculous card. I love this card. This card made PK so good. And in some situations, I've been Ghost Ogred, and I'll have I'll like preset a card on the field before I summon this card, so that when I activate its effect, I can instead just destroy the card that I set, because it has that protection effect. It's very good. In emergency situations, I like to use this card, and maybe I got interrupted so that I can go into SP. Yeah, it has a lot of utility. I can send Adventure, the Water Enchantress. I can send PK names if I've already done that. It's an insane card. And we got QCR, so it's awesome. The man himself, Phantom Knights Bardish, Rusty Bardish, he is so good. He sets a PK trap from deck, and Foolish Burial is one as well. He does a lot of work. He is the main thing that my deck centers around, because my main goal is to, during my opponent's turn, summon a card to his zone here to destroy it, and then go from IP and that summoned Breaksword to go into SP. So that's 2 interruptions, and then SP's bonus effect to banish when your opponent activates an effect is a 3rd interruption. So that's just 3, just based on having this one card in your extra monster zone. And even if it's in your main monster zone, it points to the right, so you can use it for that as well. I had a situation where I had this card stolen by Triple Tactics Talents, and they tried to link it off into Access Code Talker, but the first line of text to Rusty Bardish says cannot be used as link material. So it was very funny, but yeah, this is a mainstay for sure. I'm glad that it came off the ban list ages and ages ago, so very good. And your link twos, IP, SP, Dark. We spoke about IP, SP before. You usually go into IP after you go into Breaksword and reviving your monsters. It's your going first play. There was a situation where my opponent literally did nothing but set a couple cards, so I used IP, and my body's on board to go into Access Code Talker instead, which is this fella here. just to set up the following turn, and then he wasn't able to do anything when I went into the main phase. Nothing of note anyway. SP is broken card. Like it does everything. It does your taxes, it banishes cards, it's an awesome card. You can make it in emergencies, you can make it after you go into dark to revive a card. There was a situation at locals today where I revived a Dissipator and then just revived more PK names and just continued comboing. It was insane. I love Dark. There is an argument for taking Dark out during some instances, but yeah, this card's awesome. And Access Code Talker. This is the flex spot. This is a bit weird. Access Code Talker is your removal, extra removal, even beyond the Bardiche and the XCs. That's why I play it. I also play it just to end games. Let's say you didn't go into your Horus, or maybe your Horus wasn't enough and you need just that extra push. There's Access Code Talker. This card can realistically, though, be any one card that would be good. There's some arguments to be made for Evil Swarm Nightmare. There's some arguments to be made for Anti-Zeus, but I chose Access Code Talker and it worked out well because it won me the games that I summoned it. So I have one Levia, Grand Game. This card does a lot in the Grand Game, and this is also the card that I summon if I want to threaten Zeus. It's really good in that way because it's super. Like I had a guy just go, "What?" when I summoned this because I had no banish cards. I had nothing else. Terratop and Takatomborg to go into this. So this card is good in the grind, but it's still necessary. A lot of people again take this card out, but I wouldn't because it's just such a everyman for that kind of use. So play this card. And the man himself, the Phantom Knight's Breaksword. Such a broken card. Such a broken card. This can be used for threatening to go into Zeus. This card can be used for removal, can be used to revive the exact PK names that you want so you can get their bonus effects on field. It plays well with Bardiche. It goes into your finisher plays, which I'll get into in a second. Yeah, this card is awesome. And if you summon it with gloves, it gives you that bonus 1k to interact with other boss monsters. And then if you crash them, you can go into your follow-up plays from there in the main phase too. So broken card. It doesn't even need to destroy both of the targets. It has to destroy at least one, which is usually just itself. So and then it revives the two. So card's good. So from here we play the Raiders Knight package, Raiders Knight and Ark Rebellion. A lot of people do not prepare for this card specifically. When I have a Dark Xyz under it, and you activate its effect, it not only steals everyone's attack, it also permanently negates everyone's effects. It's crazy. A lot of people don't realize the threat of me just having this and doing its effect and then having my level 4s on board. And even when they see this, they don't do anything. I've seen people have interactions and not touch it, and then I get to this and it's already too late. Like, your destruction effects aren't going to work. There was a game against Fire King Snake Eye where he tried to destroy with Kieran, and this card can't be destroyed by card effects. I believe it's the first line of text. And he had Dark left, and it was a situation where I really didn't want to go into the grind game. I really didn't want to take my time destroying his cards because he'll get more value and potentially eke out a win. So I wanted to just one-shot him. So I made this after a lot of effort, and then I attacked into his the Dark Charmer. So it's like 12k versus 18, and I just, absolutely one-shot him. It was awesome. Wasn't on this card, but it's, play it. Very good. Still games. And the brother package for that one is 1 Down Nerd, 1 Zeus. We've spoken a lot about these cards in this deck profile already. These cards are crazy. They're just white boards. They just, I had a Labyrinth matchup where I just wiped his entire board. That same Snake Eye player, I wiped his entire board. He did not, he saw my Levia and he didn't value how powerful Zeus is. So there are times where you just want to surprise your opponent so you don't go into down ed. But if you have the ability to not, to play and they don't have interaction, you can go into this and this and you have two bounces. That Snake Eye player had his targeted Zeus with his Promethean Princess, but because the field spell left, Promethean Princess also left the field. So yeah, this card's insane. I would never not play it. Even without this, I would still play this. Cool. And the last two cards are the rank 8 Xyz package that you used to go in with your Horus cards. This is part of your combo if you open your Horus cards and you are concerned about having access to your Bardish. A lot of the times it's also a good way to scout what your opponent's playing, because you'll see what monsters or spells, traps, whatever they have are in their deck. So it's a good way to do that. While at the same time also finding your bodies. Summoned Terratop off this, summoned any bevy of PKs off of this. It was insane. Summoned an Imseti once, it was very funny. But yeah, doesn't really go well into some decks. Like, you don't want to play this going into Tier, you don't really want to play this going into Lightsworn of all things, but if you want to take the risk, then I guess be a gambling man. And of course you have this, the Photon Lord. To negate, it protects your board. I really only ever go into this if I have just absolute insane all gas, no brakes. It's a good way to protect your board. Sometimes you value the Imseti cards over having that protection with the negate. But more often than not, I will just go into this should the opportunity arise, because it just is such a good card. And 3k booty is it's a big booty. So play this card. And now to the side deck, we finally have the adventure token. Very funny. We have the 3 Nibiru. This is the most changeable card in the deck. Now, my mentality with this was to play it for the Fire King Snake Eye matchup, or just the pure Snake Eye matchup, because it just blows it up if you hit it in the right place. But upon further thought, I would rather play Droll because of the negative way that this interacts with your Terratop. Because you have a body, you can't do its Fenrir-like effect to special summon it from hand, so I'd rather value that. There is an argument to be made to just side out the Terratop package, but yeah, so play Nib, don't play Nib, it's up to you, but my recommendation would be not to play it and just play Draw. Playing a bunch of more hand traps, Ash Bell. Now I'm playing, funnily enough, this is the card that I was conflicting with Imperm, so I didn't really know which one to do, but decided to side it out. It's not my usual play style, so it was a little bit uncomfortable for me, but I found out it worked rather well. Was concerned that there was going to be a lot of branded players, but there honestly wasn't. I didn't really see a single branded that entire tournament, even just walking around. But there are some rogue matchups where you really want this card. Obviously you want that with branded. You don't really want to side this into Snake Eye Fire King. But yeah, I also knew for a fact that that there were going to be Labyrinth players attending, so I really just wanted to play those Ashes, because that comes up real clutch in that matchup. Same deal with these Bells. Originally these were DD Crows, because I just want to be able to be as active in my plays as possible rather than reactive, because I would want to pick the low or have another option to banish something else. But I found that just when theory crafting, Bell was the better card. Another concern of mine was, yeah, Puppet Lock. It's very cringe, but you have to consider it. So for that, Bell is good. For the big welcome Labyrinth, Bell is also very good. And if you really want to, you can side it into Fire King Snake Eye to counter the Flamberg Dragon. So these cards are good. Also very funny, if you are a madman, you can go into Zombie Vampire mill your cards, and these are level 3s, so you just go into your combo. If you have an extender or your normal summon, it's very, very, very funny hand traps. Card of the format, D-Barrier. There are a lot of mono summoning mechanic decks out there right now. Voiceless for rituals, obviously your Tenpai for your synchros, Branded for fusions. I can't really think of an Xyz archetype right now, but yeah, this card super important in this format. A lot of the time against Tenpai, I would just play going first and just draw into this card with like an Imseti, or just have this card because they will want to make you go first. I activated this card against the Thunder Dragon player, and he just could not play. He just made like IP and then lost. Play this card. Don't forget that it also permanently negates whatever is on the field upon resolution. Play D-Barrier. Last card on the side, we got Cosmic Cyclone. Now, while the deck does have a lot of generic removal on its own, Cosmic Cyclone is super good. There are some matchups where you want to be a little bit more active. I did have in like the very small practice that I had before the tournament, an interaction where I just held the Cosmic in hand against a Labyrinth player, and then they activated their hand trap in hand to set a card, and I just activated and killed them. It was awesome. So Cosmic good. Gets around certain weird floodgatey interactions that you would otherwise be really screwed in. So Cosmic Cyclone, very good. And very shout out to the funny speed duel print that I got here. So there you go. So that's the deck profile. So 42 cards, very good. PK is a solid option in this format. I wouldn't necessarily call it the best deck, but it has a lot of potential going into the following format. So shout outs to Battle City. It's where I'm sitting right now. It's my Monday local. Very awesome. Shout out to the boys that run it. Shout out to Micah, my fellow PK enjoyer, who did really well at the YCS and also did the same as me this this tournament, but he unfortunately did not make the cut. Shout outs to Breaksword, the upcoming Yu-Gi-Oh team that we're making. We're going to do big things and gonna keep you in the loop for that. But yeah, that's the deck profile.